Quitting guarantees failure, but for many, the true weight of this statement isn't fully understood until much later, when the consequences have already become part of their story. At first glance, it seems like a simple truth. If you give up, you lose your chance at success. But beneath the surface, it carries lessons about persistence, resilience, and the subtle ways our choices shape our destinies. Picture the moment you decide to start something new. Maybe it's launching a business, learning to play an instrument, writing a novel, or committing to a personal goal like fitness. At the outset, motivation runs high. Hope is abundant. The path ahead, although daunting, is filled with the promise of growth and achievement. But as time passes, obstacles emerge. Progress slows, self-doubt creeps in. The initial excitement fades, replaced by frustration and uncertainty. It's at this point, the crossroads between pushing forward and giving up, that the true meaning of quitting becomes clear. When you walk away, the journey ends. Not because you were incapable, but because you removed yourself from the possibility of succeeding. The dream is over, not because it was impossible, but because you chose to stop pursuing it. Most people don't realize the finality of quitting until they look back, months or years later, and wonder what could have been. They see friends who persisted through challenges and eventually found success. They watch as colleagues who faced the same setbacks discovered breakthroughs simply because they stayed in the game. The difference, more often than not, is not talent or luck. It's perseverance. Quitting is seductive because it offers immediate relief. It lets you escape discomfort, disappointment, and the fear of failure. In the moment, it feels like self-preservation. But in the long run, it's self-sabotage. Each time you quit, you reinforce the idea that difficulty means defeat. You train your mind to expect less from yourself, to accept that challenges are insurmountable. Over time, this mindset closes doors before you even try to walk through them. On the other hand, persistence builds strength. Every time you continue in the face of adversity, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more than you imagined. You build resilience, learning to navigate setbacks and adapt your approach. You begin to understand that failure is not a stopping point, but a teacher, an opportunity to learn, grow, and adjust. Consider the stories of those who have achieved remarkable things. Rarely are their journeys straightforward. They encounter failure, rejection, and hardship. They experience moments of doubt and despair, but they keep going. They refuse to let temporary setbacks define their ultimate outcome. Over time, their persistence compounds, leading to skills, insights, and opportunities that would have remained hidden had they quit. The reality is, success is rarely a straight line. It's a winding path filled with detours, dead ends, and unexpected turns. Most people quit not because the goal is unattainable, but because the journey becomes harder than they anticipated. They underestimate the time, effort, and resilience required. In doing so, they guarantee failure, not because they lack potential, but because they remove themselves from the running. It's important to understand that quitting doesn't just impact the outcome of a single endeavor. It shapes your identity. Every time you give up, you reinforce a narrative about who you are and what you're capable of. Over time, this story becomes self-fulfilling. You start to see yourself as someone who abandons goals when things get tough. This belief seeps into every area of life, silently dictating what you attempt and how you respond to challenges. But the opposite is also true. Every act of perseverance builds a foundation of self-trust. You become someone who follows through, regardless of obstacles. This mindset empowers you to take on bigger challenges, knowing that you have the resilience to withstand adversity. It opens doors to opportunities you might have thought were out of reach. Of course, there is a difference between strategic decision-making and quitting out of frustration or fear. Sometimes changing course is necessary. Sometimes letting go of one goal allows you to pursue something that's a better fit for your values and skills. The key is to make these decisions consciously, not as an escape from discomfort, but as a deliberate choice for growth. To avoid the trap of quitting, it helps to reframe your relationship with failure. Instead of seeing setbacks as evidence that you're not good enough, view them as stepping stones. Each mistake, each disappointment contains valuable information. It tells you what doesn't work, guiding you toward what might. If you persist, you continue to learn. If you quit, the learning stops. Most importantly, remember that greatness is not reserved for the few. It's available to anyone willing to endure the process of growth. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is often as simple as who stayed in the game long enough for their efforts to bear fruit. So the next time you're tempted to quit, pause and ask yourself, what might be possible if I keep going just a little while longer? What could I discover about myself if I push through this moment of doubt? Chances are the breakthrough you seek is closer than you think. In the end, the only way to guarantee failure is to quit. Every other path, no matter how uncertain, still holds the possibility of success. The journey may be difficult and progress may be slow, but as long as you keep moving forward, you keep the door open to growth, achievement, and the fulfillment of your dreams. Let that knowledge guide you through the toughest moments, and remember, perseverance isn't just about reaching the finish line. It's about becoming the person who never gives up.